the Chinese government said to their tech companies, we highly urge you do not use Nvidia chips, because they didn't want money going into Trump's pocket. They didn't want this to become a win for Trump in the trade wars that are going on. It has now escalated, and the Chinese government has said, no, you may not buy Nvidia chips anymore. Nvidia chips have been banned from Chinese tech companies. Good morning, my name is Kyle, and this is the aptly named AI with Kyle show. So I'm going to be running you through the daily AI news and updates, as well as answering questions from the audience who are joining me over on TikTok and, happily, increasingly over on YouTube. If you are on TikTok, by the way, there is a much higher resolution version and you can see my screen. It is on YouTube. Whereas if you're on TikTok, you can just see me and it's a lower resolution, looks a bit crappy, but up to you, whatever's easiest for you. But there is a YouTube channel. Also, we put the recordings of these lives clipped up into the individual sections over on YouTube, so it's a lot easier for you to access the information without having to sit through a whole hour of me gabbing on about artificial intelligence. But if you want to do that as well, absolutely, I'm really happy to have you guys here. And it's fascinating to see people who come every morning, and I've talked to a few of you, and you're doing other things like getting ready for the day or doing the washing up and stuff like that, and have me on in the background, which is really cool. I think it's an amazing use of the internet, honestly. So we have a few things that are going on today. Last week was pretty quiet when it came to artificial intelligence news, and this week it is hotting up a little bit. So we have, what do we have? We have some new benchmarks that have just been broken in the gold medal in the ICPC. We've had two models, well, I'll get to it in a minute. Basically, Google announced that they'd just got 10 out of 12 in the International Collegiate Programming Contest. They've got 10 out of 12. And then immediately after, we're talking like 10 minutes later, ChatGPT was like, yeah, we got 12 out of 12. We beat you. So I love to see this competition. We have some rumors about Gemini 3 that are circulating, but it looks like they are false, but I'll get to that. We have Nvidia. This is probably the biggest news and the biggest impact in the world right now. Nvidia chips are no longer welcome in China. So there's been a lot of back and forth about whether Nvidia chips, GPUs specifically, could be sold in China. Trump tried to fix it by taking a 15% cut of revenue. And now the Chinese government saying to their tech companies, no, you are not allowed to use these. So that is hotting up. And then a few other bits and pieces. I have a really interesting article by Peter Yang, which I want to go through. He has a great YouTube channel, which I'll shout out in a moment, where he talks to people who are building with artificial intelligence. And based on these, he has come up with 15 hot takes to cut through the AI hype. And I'm going to go through them because I think it's a really useful article and a really good place for discussion. So first up, let's hop into some fun news. This is from Sam Altman. So Sam Altman put out a tweet yesterday talking about their exploration of the OpenAI brand back in February 2023. So remember that ChatGPT is not very old, and they only really publicly released, they had their ChatGPT moment specifically in November 2023. So we're coming up on the second, is it 2023? I'm terrible at chronology. 2023, is it only 2 years old? I thought it was 3 years old. Anyway, I'm terrible at chronology. If you told me it was 5 years ago, I would believe you. If you told me it was a year ago, I'd believe you too. But this is a brand exploration for OpenAI with Sam Altman from February 2023. And there's a couple of logo concepts. If you're on TikTok, definitely hop over to YouTube to see these. They are not good. They're really naff looking, basically. And funnily, I don't know what they expected, but this Area Technology, which is a design studio for advanced visual technology, according to them, they've put out their brand exploration. I don't know why now. And also, if I was a design studio, I might not have shared these because they are terrible. However, one of the designs did end up being the visual identity behind the black and white swirly symbol that they use now. But unsurprisingly, all the comments are saying, oh my God, these are bad. I get the vibe these are going for, but this feels like a generational fumble. Holy shit. People roasting in the comments. Yeah, they are. I can't tell if they're being serious. It looks like kind of graphics card logos from the 1990s, like early days of the computer. Terrible design. I'm not a designer, but I know enough to look at these and be like, oof, these are rough. So I don't know why they put these out, and I don't know why Sam retweeted them. But he says, fun to look back at this exploration with Area on the OpenAI brand. This work partially inspired the circle that we use and love in our products. So he's given them some credit where credit is due, which I think was nice, but these are bad. I'm glad they went with what they did. Let's hop over to the big news of the day. Oops. So the big news is Nvidia. So Nvidia create GPUs, graphical processing units, which are the kind of mainstay of training artificial intelligence models. Because they are in such high demand, Nvidia has been boosted to become the world's first $4 trillion company. So it's the largest company on earth with a market capitalization of over $4 trillion because of the demand for these GPUs. So remember that the people making a lot of money during what we're seeing now, this AI boom, maybe AI bubble, we don't know yet, are the people who are providing kind of the infrastructure in the background. So it's going to be companies like Oracle, who are doing cloud servers. It's going to be companies like Nvidia, who are building the GPUs, and they're the only game in town when it comes to GPUs. So there's been back and forth with the sale of GPUs being restricted to China, basically banned by the US. So the US said to Nvidia, you're not allowed to sell to China. There has been a watered down version called the H20, which is a version of their H200 chip, but it's about 30% of the power and they cannot be connected together quite so easily. And the agreement was Nvidia would be able to sell these watered down, less powerful chips to China if they gave 15% of their revenue from sales straight to the US government, so to Trump basically, which is an unprecedented deal. That's not a tax, that's not a tariff, it is a direct revenue share of the chips. So when this was announced, the Chinese government said to their tech companies, we highly urge you do not use Nvidia chips, because they didn't want money going into Trump's pocket. They didn't want this to become a win for Trump in the trade wars that are going on. It has now escalated, and the Chinese government has said, no, you may not buy Nvidia chips anymore. Nvidia chips have been banned from Chinese tech companies. So Alibaba, ByteDance, and other Chinese technology companies are barred from purchasing Nvidia's latest AI chips, custom made for China. So Nvidia has put together a big order of these chips for these Chinese companies. They're not going to be delivered now. The Cyberspace Administration of China has banned buying and testing the RTX Pro 6000D chips. Fantastic names always. Despite companies having ordered thousands of the chips in the month since their introduction in July. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said he was disappointed by the news of the ban during a press conference with reporters in London, where he is set to join President Donald Trump at a state dinner on Wednesday night. In August, Nvidia worked with Trump to broker a deal allowing the sale of H20 chips to China in return for a 15% cut in the profit. I wonder about the timing of this. This feels like it was designed to knock Trump off balance while he's here in the UK on his state visit. Because at the moment he's on this kind of triumphant tour of this is how much money the US is going to invest in the UK. We heard yesterday that about $40 billion worth of AI investment is coming to the UK. So it's a lot of grandstanding. A lot of, look at us, hey, we are the world's leader in AI. For China, the Chinese government for this information to be released or leaked yesterday is pretty convenient. We probably contributed more to the China market than most countries have, and I'm disappointed with what I see, Huang said to reporters during the press conference. But they have larger agendas to work out between China and the US, and I'm understanding of that. Fair. He is a player in this. He's a very powerful player, with now the largest company on earth, but it's falling into geopolitical lines now because both America and China have stated that AI development is a strategically important objective. So this is gone beyond the commercials now. This is about the history of these countries moving forward and military as well. So Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson went further, saying that China is trying to become a peer-to-peer adversary of the US. They already are, no? But okay. Mike's just noticed. They have no regard whatsoever for US trademark law or any of the other provisions that make for fair trade agreement, Johnson said. It is not the fault of the US that there are these strange relationships. It's the fault of China. I'm not sure about that. China has been making moves to build up its own chip manufacturing capabilities after years of tit-for-tat export controls by the US to limit the sale of AI chips to China. and China is limiting the sale of chip materials to the US. This is their big chokehold. China's been using less powerful chips tailor-made for the country by Nvidia. So there's been brinkmanship going back and forward for years on this now. I think, since Biden. So this is a culmination, or maybe a next step, of this argument that's been going on for years, with China finally saying, okay, that's it. We're cutting off, and you're not allowed to buy the RTX Pro 6000D chips. Don't know what it necessarily means about the H20s, which is the chip especially designed for China. That's the one where Trump or the administration will get 15% of the revenue, which is a weird deal. It feels a bit like paying a bribe or protection money. It's a bit of a racket. But at the same time, China are trying to build their own chipsets, especially through Huawei, the company. The scuttlebutt, the rumor is that they're not quite good enough, and this is why DeepSeek R2, which is the successor to DeepSeek R1, funnily enough, was not released back in May. It was expected in May, and it has been delayed, and inside sources in China say that it's because the Huawei chips were not quite up to scratch. However, how long that remains the case, I think that they will very quickly catch up with the chipset technology, especially now that the American chips are being restricted. I think this will push the chip manufacturers, it will push the tech companies in China to go harder for their own domestic chipsets and to be independent. And as this article points out at the end, China controls a lot of the raw materials that are required to make these chipsets. So currently they're being sold to Nvidia. They could potentially throttle that supply point and instead divert it to their own domestic chip manufacturing, and then not just compete but shoot ahead if Nvidia is throttled. Cool. So let's hop over. Oh, Claude. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Thanks for mentioning Perplexity Pro via PayPal. Try saying that 5 times backwards. Perplexity Pro via PayPal promo. Been using daily. Fantastic. For anyone who missed that, you can get a whole year of Perplexity Pro for free. And all you need is a PayPal account. That's it. You just need to link your PayPal account to it. They're just trying to boost their user numbers, basically, and also show that they have paying customers, even if those customers are going to pay in 12 months. So this is, on Perplexity's side, they're trying to plump their numbers. That's fine. We can use it to get a free version of Perplexity Pro. Let me pull it up. It is Perplexity. I wish I could spell. There we go. I'll put it up on the screen. So Perplexity Pro with PayPal, exclusive for PayPal users. Get a full year of Pro completely free when you connect your PayPal account and choose a valid billing method. So if you Google, or I guess you could ChatGPT it, but if you Google Perplexity Pro PayPal, it should show up. The cool thing about this is you get something a lot of people don't realize is you get access to the other models when you have a Perplexity Pro subscription. So you get access to GPT-5, Claude 4 Sonnet and Gemini 2.5 Pro, as well as O3, ChatGPT O3, Claude 4 Sonnet Thinking, Claude 4 Opus if you are on the Max user, and Grok 4. So it basically gives you access to all of the top models, but inside a Perplexity Pro. What you do not get are the additional features. So you don't get access to Claude projects, for example, or you don't get access to ChatGPT Advanced Voice Mode. But if you just want access to the kind of raw model, this is a really good way to do it. And it's free, so why not? Oh, with this, you'll also get access to their browser, Comet. God, I was about to call it Deer there, but it's Perplexity Comet. So well worth checking out, and it is free. If you don't want to pay, then make sure you block the payment. No, don't block the payment. Cancel it before the payment goes through, obviously. I'm sure they're hoping a lot of people will forget to do that, and then in 12 months' time, they're going to have a spike in revenue. Good for them. I'm so glad you called out the mafia-like 15%. Yes, this will be just another nail in the US tech superiority coffin. Good morning, by the way, trust you. Yeah, the 15% is, I saw a lot of people defending it saying, oh, it's just like a tariff. No, and it's not like a tax. It's not a tax or a tariff because taxes are done on profits. This is done on revenue. This is a revenue share, which is very different. And it is something that we haven't seen before, with the US government taking a direct stake almost, not with equity, but in revenue sharing of a company. It's icky. Funnily enough, it's closer to what the Chinese government does. The Chinese government takes golden shares in the large tech companies, so ByteDance, Alibaba, etc. The Chinese government has a portion of shares which gives them control within that company. That's just one of the conditions of doing business there. And Trump was also making noises about having the government purchase Intel or take a stake in Intel. Very interestingly, the administration is using Chinese methods of state control in technology companies, much closer to Beijing than Washington, but I don't think they see the irony of that. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But all of this is against the backdrop of Trump being here in the UK and throwing around a lot of money, or having the US companies throw around a lot of money. So for China to be slapping back and continuing the trade war in this way whilst he is here meeting with the king, it feels targeted to me. Yes, icky. It is icky. 15% revenue share is icky. Maybe illegal, but definitely icky. Okay, we covered that already. I want to talk about this because this cracked me up. So yesterday, Google DeepMind, so the UK founded lab run by Demis Hassabis that has belonged to Google for, a decade or so. And they are at the cutting edge of research frontier for scientific and mathematic, and also game playing Go, for example. They announced that an advanced version of Gemini 2.5 DeepThink has achieved gold medal level performance in the ICPC 2025, which is Intercollegiate Programming Challenge. Is that right? Let me get that. Yep. Intercollegiate Programming Challenge, one of the world's most prestigious programming contests. So they got 10 out of 12 in the questions, so they did really well. So building on the model's success in maths at the IMO, the International Math Olympiad, which was about a month ago, this marks another historic milestone for advanced AI. About half an hour afterwards, this happened. Sundar said, incredible milestone, an advanced version of Gemini 2.5 DeepThink achieved gold medal performance at the ICPC World Finals, a top global programming competition, solving an impressive 10 out of 12 problems. Such a profound leap in abstract problem solving. Congrats to Google DeepMind. So Google were bigging this up. 10 minutes after Sundar put out that tweet, OpenAI tweeted, our general purpose reasoning model solved all 12 problems at the 2025 International Collegiate Programming Contest World Finals, the world's top university programming competition, which was enough for a first-place human ranking. So they 10 minutes later announced that they'd actually got 2 more than Google. I love this. I love watching these top labs going head to head and fighting each other over these kind of milestones over mathematics. We saw this with the IMO, the International Math Olympiad too, where I think it was Google was the first one. Google got a really high score, and then immediately ChatGPT was like, yep, us too. I love this competition because it drives these research labs to fight with each other. And this is why I don't want one AI company just to run away with this. This is much more healthy because you know that these researchers, these scientists and these mathematicians and these engineers they're competing. They'll all know each other. It's a friendly competition, but they are still pushing the boundaries because of this competition that's in place, which I think is really good fun. Also, there's a question that keeps popping up. So whenever I talk about AI, a very constant criticism is, it can't count, and it doesn't even know the number of R's in strawberry, for example. That is the kind of very common criticism of large language models. And this R's in strawberries, R's in raspberries, R's in blueberry, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, and it cannot count how many there are. This is because it's a large language model. It is based on language. It's not based on numbers, and it doesn't work in the same symbolic way as a calculator does, as a computer does. So it can't count in the specific sense of counting up those numbers. It's not very good at counting or calculating. It can do that by calling on something like Python, which is a programming language which can count and calculate. And remember that we have tools that count and calculate. We have computers and we have calculators. Like, we've had these for a while. Large language models are specifically made for language. So this causes confusion because people are like, how are they winning these gold medals if it can't count the number of R's? It's because people are mixing up the different types of mathematics, basically, and this confusion occurs. Most of us think of mathematics as arithmetic, adding numbers, subtracting numbers, counting numbers. The level of mathematics that we're talking about with these international math Olympiads and all these other competitions is much, much higher. There's very little actual calculation. It's more about logical reasoning and proofs. So it's thinking through problems. There's very little, if not zero, arithmetic inside these competitions, because that is such a low level that is no longer relevant. So what the AIs are good at, the large language models in particular, and the reasoning models, is the process of providing logical proofs. So the higher end of mathematics, that does not rely on calculation and counting in the same way that we think about mathematics on a daily basis. So that's what leads to this confusion, where we as lay people, we think of mathematics as one thing, adding up numbers, whereas at the higher end with the engineers and the mathematicians, that's less important. It's just not part of what is required to win these medals. So it causes attention and a lot of confusion, and I understand why. I'm going to hop over to some questions, if there are any. Oh, thank you, Peter. Lots of likes. Did you talk about the Meta glasses disaster yet? No. No, I haven't talked about it. I'll probably do because I want to show the video. For those who haven't seen it yet, Meta have released a new pair of Meta glasses with Ray-Ban, and it's glasses and a wristband. I don't know what they're calling it, but you can control it, and it has additional sensitivities through the wrist. It's very cool. It's cool technology. They did a live demo, and it was... I feel for them, I really do, because I do live demos, I do workshops, I do my live stream where I'm building in public, and stuff goes wrong. Unfortunately, when you are releasing a product of this scale and you're saying that this is the new form factor that we're going to be accessing the world, forget about telephones, this is the new thing, it's going to be on our face, we're going to have a screen, we're going to be able to control it through our kind of wrist and stuff like that. For your tech demo to go wrong is rough. So I'll do an actual video on it because I want to show what's happened in live on stage, but very briefly, they're trying to pull up a video file and it gets it wrong and it all just collapses on stage, and the guy's up on stage like umming and ahhing. Oh, it doesn't normally do this. Oh gosh, it's painful to watch. I think the technology is really cool. It's obviously not quite ready, and that demo was an absolute disaster. And it's always a risk when doing these things live. They were obviously confident in the ability or the capacity of their technology. I think heads are going to be rolling at Meta today. Because what I don't understand is you're a company of that size and you have a show where you are promoting what is going to be the next stage of technology. You have backups, you have fallbacks. Like when you're doing live TV, for example, if something goes horribly wrong, you switch over to something else. You have something in place so that you can deal with that. That's part of production. So they didn't. So instead, it's just fumbling and umming and ahhing and saying, oh, it doesn't normally happen like this, and oh, we'll get this working in a minute, and it is painful. And then there were some other pretty big fumbles later in the presentation. There's a bit where they're trying to make a steak sandwich. It's very funny. They're trying to make a steak sandwich, so they're looking at the ingredients, which is cool. It can look at you, it can see what you're seeing, and it can help you interact with the world. Really cool idea. But it starts thinking of the steak sandwich as no, what is it? I need to watch it again. It starts thinking of the steak sandwich as an ingredient in the steak sandwich. So it's, oh, get the sandwich and add it into it just goes horribly wrong. And again, this is a problem with live, but they should have been ready. They should have been ready because now they've become the laughing stock. So I'm not going to cover it on this live specifically. I will shoot another video. I'll stick it on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube so that I can show what happened on stage, because otherwise it's just me badly explaining it. It is very funny though. I do feel for them, but if you're going to fumble, at least do it in a very funny way, and they have. Yeah. Drew says, oh man, the meta demo was it was super cringe. Yep. I do feel for them, bless them. It's hard. So no, I haven't talked about it. I'll talk about it in the live and I'll shoot a video on it. Great question. Thank you. Let me scroll through, because I only just saw the video this morning and had a good chuckle. Hello, Carl. I'm very interested in what are the system prompts from where most of the LLMs operate. So the system prompts are primarily hidden. You're not really meant to see them. However, let me see if I can find him. I'll put him up on screen. There's a guy called, I probably shouldn't be spreading the word of Pliny, but why not? There's a guy called Elder Plinius, or Pliny the Elder, who's a jailbreaker. He opens up large language models very fast. incredibly fast. It's a sport now to see how long between the release of a new model and Pliny the Elder ripping it open. He actually made it into the Time 100. Let me pull it up. It's very funny. I was talking to him on Twitter about this, and he was not expecting it. So the Time 100 did a list of AI, and it's Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Matthew Prince, strange. Pliny made it onto this list. Pliny the Liberator, digital jailbreaker, and he doesn't even have a profile photo because he's anonymous, but he made it onto the list alongside the Pope of all people. A very bizarre list, but it was great to see Pliny there. So Pliny jailbreaks the models, and one of the things that he does is pulls the system prompts. Not always, it depends on what he or she can manage, but let's see if he's got the ChatGPT system prompt. Here we go, leaked system prompts for, he's got a folder where he has Anthropic, Bolt, Brave, Klein, Cluely, Cursor, Devin. He's got all of them nicely ordered, so you can see all of the system prompts. So let's see if he's got 5. Go, GPT-5. Yes, here we go. You are ChatGPT, a large language model based on the GPT-5 model and trained by OpenAI, knowledge cutoff June 2024. And it has everything in here. Really interesting things like you are insightful, encouraging assistant who combines meticulous clarity with genuine enthusiasm and gentle humor, supportive thoroughness, patiently explain complex topics clearly and comprehensively, light-hearted interactions, maintain friendly tone with subtle humor and warmth, adaptive teaching, flexibly adjust explanations based on perceived user proficiency, etc., etc. So it is all available, and Pliny is one of the people who rips them and gets them pulled open. So if you do want to see the system prompts of pretty much everything, then Pliny the Elder grabs them, and oh wow, he's already got the Codex. So Codex was the new model. No, it's not a model, it's not a fine-tune, it's a variation of GPT-5. I don't quite know what the technical term for it is, but instructions: user will provide a task. The task involves working with Git repositories in your current working directory, wait for all terminal commands to be completed or terminate them before finishing, etc., etc., etc. So you can read everything. Just head to, if you Google Elder Plinius, like E-L-D-E-R, Plinius is P-L-I-N-I-U-S, GitHub, G-I-T-H-U-B, then you'll be able to find Pliny's work. And then within there, you want to look at his Claritas, his Claritas folder. And within there, you can see Anthropic, Bolt, Brave, Klein, Meta, OpenAI, Perplexity. All of the system prompts are in there, so you can have a dig around. I'm not sure if I should be promoting his work, but hey, why not? I think he's awesome. He does great work. How to deal with Claude's low usage. I like Claude more, but the usage is super annoying. So I'm on the max plan, so I don't have the low usage. So obviously that's the answer that Anthropic one is, well, just upgrade to the $200 a month one, but that is not applicable for everybody because that is a lot of money, especially if you are paying that for multiple models like ChatGPT, Anthropic, etc., etc. It depends what you're trying to do. If you just want to chat with Claude, then if you're not on the $200 a month plan, then use Sonnet. You're going to get a lot more usage from Sonnet. Basically, the moment you use Opus, that's it. You're going to be out of credits within seconds, which is annoying because Opus is very good. If you want to get more usage, you can use it via the API. That's probably going to be the best way without upgrading to the $200 a month. But that requires a bit more knowledge to know how to get that. Oh, you could also do it via Perplexity Pro, which we talked about a little while ago. There's a free version of Perplexity Pro for 12 months. If you use your PayPal account, you connect your PayPal account. So that gives you access to Claude, not to Opus, but to Sonnet. So that would give you more Sonnet usage as well for free. It wouldn't be connected to your current Anthropic account. That's the only problem, but it would give you some more usage. But the answer here is either upgrade to $200 a month, which may or may not be possible, or use the API to directly connect, and then you're paying per usage rather than a monthly fee. And then that can flex to however much you need. Oh, thank you. Somebody's sending me lots of gifts on TikTok. That's very nice for you. Yeah, Amir, if you're on the Pro account, Opus, the amount of Opus you get on the Pro account is insultingly low. It does feel like they are just giving you a little taste of Opus so that you upgrade to the Max account, which is very expensive and for most people is overkill. The other thing is, we think, the rumor is they're about to release Sonnet 4.5. When they do, what will probably happen is Sonnet 4 usage will shoot up, like it'll basically be free to use, and Opus potentially might get more usage because they have a new 4.5. Maybe. That tends to be what happens, is that when a new model comes out, the previous ones become cheaper and more accessible. And we're thinking we're getting 4.5, Sonnet 4.5 in the next few weeks. So this might be a problem that resolves itself, maybe. Now talk on Southern American accent. I'm terrible at accents, I'm afraid. Nate says, building stuff is hard no matter how much money you throw at it. In reference to the Meta Glass launch. Yeah, yes it is. Especially doing public events like that. It's something that I'd say Google are very good at it because they're polished and they are smart and they pre-record most of their demonstrations. Personally, I find their launches and their demos a bit less interesting because of that, because it's all pre-recorded. It's going to be slick and it's going to be polished. I think OpenAI, the awkward engineers who don't know where to put their hands telling you about the thing they've built, I find that quite endearing personally. But then there is, if it gets too unprofessional or if it goes too badly wrong, you have something like Meta. And yeah, that was an absolute mess. What's your time prediction to actual prompt to build automation wise? Do you mean building automations? You can build one in like less than an hour, but it depends what you want it to do. I would say with time to build stuff, generally the initial build is very easy. What takes a lot of time is edge cases, dealing with errors, dealing with kind of deploying it in the real world and getting other people to use it. That is the time consuming part. The actual building is becoming increasingly easy. And with things like N8N, with Make and Zapier, etc., they now have AIs inside them where you can say, hey, this is what I want to build. And it can work out all of the modules for you, which is really cool. Or you can ask in Claude and then bring those instructions over. So you can get Claude to put together a project plan, which then you take into Make. So the actual build is relatively simple. The complicated part is working out, one, what are you actually going to automate? What are you going to build? And how is it going to be valuable for the businesses that you're selling it to? That's a really big issue. So I actually put together a course with Brand Nat, Australian Nat. I'm sure you know her from TikTok. We did a course together where I deal with the business side and the marketing side, and she does with the automation side. And it's a 4-week accelerator where we switch back and forward. So what to build, how to build it, what to build, how to build, etc. Working out what to build takes a lot more time than the actual building. And then once you've built it, it's the implementation within a business, helping them embed, helping them actually start to use it, helping them work with edge cases when it goes wrong or for cases of use that you didn't necessarily think of. That's the stuff that's very time consuming. But the actual automation creation, pretty fast. That's it. It was, they were trying to mix a steak salad. Oh, I've lost it. They were trying to mix the steak sandwich, in the Meta presentation. I'll do a video where I'll grab the actual clip so I can do a video on it because it is very funny. And it's much funnier to watch it than have me describe it. Oh, so many questions. Still trying to find info on protecting identity. Oh, the Danish. Yeah, in Denmark. So they changed the law so that you automatically own, and I need to get the wording right on this, you have the rights to your own face. Googling, here we go. They're changing the copyright law specifically. I don't know if it's actually come into play. There's a proposal. Okay, it's still under consideration by the looks of it. So the Danish amendment currently under consideration means that people affected by deepfake content can request its removal, good, and artists can demand compensation for unauthorized use of their image. So it would be the ability to copyright your own face, and the right would extend for 50 years beyond your death, apparently. So I think they're trying to make it as unattractive as possible for the people who are using the technologies for deepfaking. But I think it hasn't been pushed through, so I don't know the full details of it. Ooh, do you think AI will be like the first and second industrial revolutions in England? It's a big question. It's a really good question, but a big question. I think it's different this time. So previously, we created tools that could augment humans. So like the loom, for example, could help a human. We could do the task much, much faster. But the loom could only be a loom, it could only weave. And that was enough for the Luddites to come and smash it up. And that's literally where Luddites come from. That's not just me being rude, that's what they were called. I think it's different this time because with agentic technology in particular, which is new and it's still definitely ironing out the creases, it goes from being a tool that we can use for one task to being a human operator replacement. So it's not just the tool itself, it becomes like the human. And this is what we're pushing towards with AGI. Whether or not it will be reached doesn't matter. It's an academic point, it's a marketing point, it's what they're using to raise a lot of cash. What is important is that the AIs will be able to take on a lot of human tasks and they will be able to do them autonomously. So I think it might even be larger potentially than the previous industrial revolutions, because it's not just the creation of a tool, it's the creation of an operator that can operate other tools. And that is a different level and something that we have not seen before. It's like creating more humans, more productive humans. So potentially even larger, but it depends how close we get to AGI or if that's even possible. So artificial general intelligence, which is the ability for an AI to do at the same level as a human most human tasks. Right now we have artificial narrow intelligences. They tend to be very good at one thing. So even with large language models, they're very good at language. They're not very good at operating in the real world. And that's why robotics are being focused on so much, because robotics has not yet had its ChatGPT moment. That actually takes me on, oh no, I don't have a video of it, but they've made a very realistic human face. Again, I'll do another video on that, a short video. But it's they've crossed the uncanny valley and created a robotic face that I think looks damn human, like scarily human. And obviously that's just one element of robotics, but robotics is moving towards its ChatGPT moment where robotics becomes cheap enough for normal people to actually get involved. That's what happened with ChatGPT in the AI world. We've had AI, the concept, since 1956, I want to say, the 1950s, basically since the beginning of computing. Immediately, smart people, well, Alan Turing, were asking, okay, we've built these things, what if we make them better and better? What happens then? They were immediately asking those questions. And we've had artificial intelligence, various versions of it, for decades. And we've had different booms and different busts. And we've had 2 AI winters so far. So this is not particularly new. But what happened this time, which is different, is ChatGPT made it into the mainstream. And so generative AI, large language models made it into the mainstream. The user base of ChatGPT is 700 million people. That's about 1/10 of the world population. No other product in human history has ever got this adoption rate so quickly. So if robotics has a similar kind of moment, a ChatGPT moment, then that's going to help AI really move into the next phase. But it's hard to tell whether that's going to happen. And if it does, though, it's probably going to come from China, because they have the manufacturing capability, which we don't have in the West. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Elder Plinius we looked at. Might not make it to the next live stream. That's fine, Ed. Have you thought of adding an optional way for users to paste in the transcript to generate the leads? Oh, open it up to more beta testers to easy copy from YouTube. So this is in reference to my next live stream where I'm building a tool in public. Actually, I'll be starting that in about 20 minutes from now. I'm building an AI piece of software. I'm giving myself 30 days to do it. We're now on day 14, so nearly halfway through, and I'm going from an idea conception to hopefully making some money by the end of the month in 1 hour a day. So Ed is asking me a question about that. Have you thought about... Yeah, it's a really good idea, Ed. This is why I'm doing it live, because there's people who are much smarter than me. That's a really good idea. So one of the problems I'm having right now is going to the beta test is you need to have a YouTube channel for the tool to work, because it has to pull transcripts from your videos specifically. What Ed has just suggested allows me to work around that. Yeah. God, I feel stupid. Thank you, Ed. Very cool. Man, this is part of the reason why I'm doing this in public. One is to show how easy it is to build software nowadays, even if you don't come from a massively technical background. I'm showing you can build through natural language. And literally, if you come to the next stream, it is me chatting to Lovable. I use my microphone. I'm like, hey, Lovable, let's do dun, 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 dun. I'm not writing code at all. But also, I have people on the live stream. I have people who are much smarter than me who can come up with ideas like this. And I'm like, yep, that's what I should be doing. So thank you, Ed. So that live stream will be on YouTube and TikTok after this news live stream. And there are also recordings of it on the YouTube channel as well. Before we get there, though, I wanted to pull this up. Now, this is not by me, so go and check out Peter Yang. So Peter Yang has a YouTube channel with 30,000 subscribers. I think he's got 150,000 followers on TikTok. So, not TikTok, excuse me, Twitter. It's not even called Twitter, is it? X. Talking about AI, and he interviews builders. It's really cool. So he put together a list of hot takes to cut through the AI hype, build useful AI products, and build useful AI teams. And I wanted to pull it up because it's really cool. You'll be able to see it if you're on YouTube. If you are not, otherwise I'll read through them because I think these are cool. So the first one, the term AI PM, so AI product manager, has become meaningless branding exercise. Everyone's an AI PM on LinkedIn these days, but slapping AI PM on your resume doesn't make you one. What matters more is showing proof of work. What did you actually ship with AI recently, and does it solve a real customer problem? So important. A lot of people are dabbling with vibe coding tools. Awesome. Great. I want you to. That's why I'm doing a live stream showing you how to use these things. But you need to ship. You need to build things and get them out into the world, because as I was answering one of the other questions, the difficulty with building is not coming up with the idea and building the first draft. The difficulty with building is dealing with all of the edge cases and all of the complexities that you didn't envision when you first come up with your idea. And to get to those edge cases, to get to all the problems and the bugs and the unexpected usages that your customers are going to be asking for, you need to ship. You need to get it out into the hands of other people. So it's all well and good building for yourself. That's fine, absolutely. But if you want to really go to the next level, you need to ship. So what I'm going to be doing with my lives in particular, I'm going to be shipping a new piece of software every single month. I think am I making that commitment? It's a stupid commitment. I'm going to go for it. And I'd love to have other people build alongside me. So we do it like a monthly sprint hackathon where we all build for 30 days and try and launch it. And I also have an audience of, I want to say about 250,000 people. So if you build alongside me, I can help get you some awareness as well, so that we can go from being a wannabe builder to actually shipping something and then having to deal with the difficulties that brings up. Second, any influencer who posts X is dead should go on your block list. I've blocked at least a dozen engagement farmers who post nonsense like this changes everything or rip ChatGPT. Ignore these people and follow folks who are building and sharing real lessons instead. Yes, Twitter is particularly bad for this. Instagram to a certain extent as well. And LinkedIn is a bit of a cesspit where what's the most recent example? Nano Banana, for example, came out from Google. And everybody was saying rip Mid-Journey and this changes everything, and advertising brand managers are no longer needed. Nano Banana changed everything. Like, it's all clickbait hype, and in a month or two we're going to have something even better. That's what's exciting about AI, is that there is constant progress, and no single one of these products, no single one of these launches is necessarily that important. Yeah, sure, by all means try them out, play around with them, but there is too much for you to worry about on a daily basis. I do this fairly full time and I cannot try everything. It is not feasible. I will talk to people and they'll be like, oh, have you tried Bunglebuzz, the new AI? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of it. Because there's so much out there. So it's fine to kind of step back and take a broader picture of it. There are going to be important announcements like GPT-5, for example. That's a big important one. But the week-to-week tiny improvements and the week-to-week additional tools, you don't need to worry too much. Just know that everything is moving in the right direction and everything is getting better all the time. 3, retention is the real signal, not ARR, annual recurring revenue. Despite billions of dollars being poured into AI, I only use a handful of AI tools regularly. Yep. Good retention is what matters, and it's incredibly rare in the AI space. Founders and investors who only chase ARR, so recurring revenue numbers, while ignoring retention rate, are in for a rude awakening. So what's happening right now is people are launching tools, they're getting VCs, venture capitalists, to give them money, and they are boosting, going public. Base 44 in particular are doing this a lot right now, getting their numbers up. So they get really high annual recurring revenues, so they can get more investment and they can continue to keep that flywheel going. However, as Peter is saying, and I agree with this, there's very few tools that I think I'll be using a year from now. Yeah, I'll try out a bunch of things, but there's a few go-to tools. So for him, he's saying his AI assistant is ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. Yeah. AI meetings, Granola. Yeah, fair. And Zoom. Zoom's getting better at this, which is bad news for Granola. AI coding, Replete, Cursor, and Claude Code. Cool. AI prototyping, Bolt, Lovable, Figma, VO. AI voice dictation, Super Whisper and Flow. I might add 11 Labs in here somewhere. And AI workflow and agent, Zapier, Make, and N88. Yeah, that's kind of it. The ones I use on a day-to-day basis are ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, sometimes Cursor, yes. Claude Code, yes. Lovable, yes. Bolt, I used to, but now I use Lovable. And I use Zapier, Make, and N88. So this is my go-to list as well. So that's, what's that, 10 tools? Less? You could even do with less. So the fact that there are several hundred new tools coming out every single week tells you most of them aren't making it. Number oh, he's labeled them wrong. I'll have to tell him. Number 4, reading and understanding code matters more than ever. Despite what I want to believe, I simply cannot vibe code anything as good as a real engineer. This is Peter saying it, and yes, 100%. AI can help with writing code, but understanding how software actually works remains essential. Yes. I asked my audience, if you had to teach a busy person to become technical fast, how would you do it today? And here's the reply. Oh, I love this. This is going in the newsletter. 1, pick a domain in which you want to build something, a project or a goal-based, to give you project goal-based learning. 2, pick a dead simple tech stack. Okay, this is already getting a bit technical, but basically this is your choice of tools, what you're going to use to build it, which hides as much complexity until you're ready for it, e.g. Python plus HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Light can get you very far. Start building the project using Claude Code Learning Mode. A fantastic teacher will not do all the work for you and leave to-do placeholders for you to fill in. So you can do this with any vibe coding tool, but Claude Code specifically has a mode where it doesn't do all the work for you and it nudges you, hey, you need to learn, which is really cool. 4, find a friend who's technical, who you can talk to / practice some classical computer science exercises by hand. ChatGPT can write a few for you. Don't spend too much time here if your goal is to be technical, but majorly AI augmented. I think this, along with a deep passion, the rabbit hole with ChatGPT can get you very far. It's always been true. The best way to learn any skill is to fail, see your mistakes in practice, doing with AI help. And doing this with AI help beats any reading that you can do. And I agree with this so much. Learning to program before was either doing a course or picking up one of those big, thick textbooks. Both of them will start with explaining what variables are, what functions are, how to set up a dictionary, etc. Like very important stuff, the building blocks, but it's very dry. So the problem is a lot of people bounce off coding because they can't get through that wall of information at the beginning. What's important to do is to start to build something cool, and then you hit problems and you realize to solve those problems you need a way through, and that's going to be by learning code. And you can talk to ChatGPT about that, you can talk to Claude about it, you can put Claude Code into learning mode so it forces you to learn as well. But this all requires us to want to learn and to not be lazy. AI is a tool and we can choose how to use it. So we can use it to be very lazy, but that's going to stunt our learning moving forward, or we can use it to implement, to build something cool, and along the way to learn something, which is 100% the way to do it. I'm actually going to save the rest of these for another live because these are awesome. I'm going to put the link to the 15 hot takes inside of my newsletter today, so that is free, link in the bio. So the newsletter for today will come out tomorrow and it will have a summary of everything I've discussed, plus additional resources like this so you can go and investigate them on your own. But I'm running out of time today, so I'm not going to push forward despite these being really cool. Just going to answer a few more questions and then I'm going to swap over to the other stream. Yeah, don't do what I did and build a universe and get stuck piecing it together. Yes, it's so important when you are building with AI, or honestly, when you're creating anything. When you are creating a business, when you are writing a book, when you are putting together code, hell, if you're painting or drawing, you start with the kind of a sketch outline, literally, and the basic shape of it all, and then you start to flesh in the details. I think a lot of time with vibe coding, a problem people will have is they will basically give a prompt like, hey, make me a Salesforce, make Salesforce for me. And it's too much. So you need to start with little mini pieces and start to grow from there. It's a problem that I'm having it's not a problem, it's a choice I made in my vibe coding project that I'm working on right now. And that's going to be in the second stream in just a moment, where I kept telling myself, no, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it simple. And then a few days ago, I'm like, oh, I could just add this cool feature there. I'm just going to add this little feature, which is the wrong thing to do. You need to make sure everything works properly before you start to accrete and add more and more complexity. But I do understand the impulse to keep adding cool stuff. You do know you're training AI to stick yourself out of a job. Me, I don't have a job, so I'm good. I've never had a proper job. I've always had my own businesses. So the only proper jobs I've had was I was a cycle courier for about a year in London, and I've worked in bars and restaurants and kind of stuff like that. But I've always started my own businesses. So I highly recommend that to people as well. So I've started maybe 30 businesses / side hustles, whatever you want to call them, over the last 15 years or so. Most of them failed. That's just part of the game, really. But I think right now it's the easiest time ever to start a business, because all of the technical complexities have been removed. When I first started my early digital marketing and digital businesses, I had to come up with a product, I had to build a product, I had to make the website, I had to rig up the e-commerce, I had to do the customer services, I had to do absolutely everything myself, and I had really no idea how to do that. So your options there are you hire somebody, which is tricky if you're not making any money. You learn how to do it, which is what I had to do, and that's why it took me years to get anywhere and to make any money. And now we have artificial intelligence, so we basically have experts in our pocket. So let's say you're trying to set up Google Analytics. You're trying to set up Google Tag Manager for your website so you can track leads coming through. Previously, I'd have to go and hire somebody very expensive, Google Analytics people, not cheap. Or you'd have to dig into the Google documentation, work out how the hell to do it for your specific build, and then get the work done, which says it's either time or money. With ChatGPT now, I can go to ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, I've built my website in this. Here's the basic layout. I want to set up Google Tag Manager. Where do I add everything? What kind of things should I be thinking about? And it will give me a checklist to work through. I will then go to my website. I will start to integrate Google Tag Manager. I will hit a problem. Again, previously I'd have to pay somebody to help me out of that hole or learn my way out. Now I can go back to ChatGPT and say, yo, I'm getting this error message. What does that mean? How do we change the plan? And it will help me through. So it's probably the most exciting time to start a business ever, because we have all of these experts at our beck and call. And I think it's increasingly important because we don't know what's coming. We don't know which jobs are safe. We don't know which companies will still be around. Hell, Google may not be around in 10 years if they can't replace their search revenue. It's going to be a very different world a couple of years from now. And starting a business or having a secondary source of income gives you flexibility. That's what's going to be important. It doesn't matter where that money's coming from per se. It's the fact that you have different sources of income in play. So I personally have about six sources of income, because I know one or two of them might get destroyed. Absolutely. But by having multiple in play, that gives me more flexibility to deal with whatever turns up, because I'm not assuming that I know what's going to come, but I am assuming something will happen. So starting a business, having a side hustle, having a secondary income, and using AI to leverage that, I think that is the move right now. And that's why I do these streams as well. So I'm not worried about my job because I don't have one, but I am worried for other people. These AI softwares are given out to the public and professionals to train them and you out of a job. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, so you need to be ahead of this, and you need to be using artificial intelligence yourself. You want to be on that side of the curve rather than the one that's going to get swept under. Awesome. Nat says prompt inject, no gibberish. I'm still not an AI, and you can't get rid of my gibberish, Nat. Sorry. Awesome. I'm going to finish up. That's been about an hour. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for all the gifts and presents. And I've got a friendship. Oh, somebody sent me loads of stuff. So thank you. That's very cool of you. And I will see you for more news. Make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter to get the written summary. And I'm going to be hopping over to what I'm building in public. It's day 14 out of 30. Ben just gave me a really good idea and basically cracked the whole project open for me. So thank you for that, Ben. Cool. And see you all. Cheers.